Hey guys, Deepler. Today I got to look at the patch notes for the update that's coming. The update's going to be a 6-week cycle, which is going to include a campaign. We'll talk about that here in a sec. That's all going to be running until February 3rd, so kind of a 6-week cycle on this one. It does say there's going to be some sort of reward for everyone in the shop, so be sure to check that once the update pops. Triple first win bonus also going to be available through December 25th to January 3rd. So that'll help those of you that are leveling ships, which is probably about 99.9% of the players. So that's good. And to get it going here, first they're introducing these things called Santa containers. Looks like the rewards are going to be pretty good. They're going to contain or have a possibility of containing ships. Now there's a secret Santa container, which are not purchasable directly. It says you can earn those throughout campaigns and stuff. Those are going to have a chance to earn tier 3 and 4 ships. Yubari, Arkansas, G101, which was an Alpha Reward ship. I'll put a review up for that maybe on Monday, so you guys can check that one out. Milwaukee, Texas, and Marblehead. So that's a good collection of ships. And then the Super Santa containers hold 4 and 5 ships. And then guaranteed 50 Sakura coins, which we'll talk about here. Marblehead, Texas, Kamikaze, Graf Spee, T-61, Mutsu, Dunkirk, DeGrasse, Arizona, Warspite, Eagle, I believe it's called, which is a French destroyer, only available for a drop. For now at least, Indianapolis and Kidd. So that's a pretty nice lineup of ships that are available. The Super Santa containers are 1,000 doubloons. I think you can get some for campaign rewards and stuff like that as well. And then these Sakura coins, they're kind of like the French coins, the German coins when those campaigns were going on. You can remember that. There are going to be some ships for those, the G101 and the Ashashio, which is a Japanese destroyer. I think a PC at a torpedo reload boost. That ship should be pretty interesting. So the G101 is going to be obtained for a discounted price of 200 Sakura coins, until December 30th. So if you want to get that one, it increases to 750 Sakura coins after that. So if you're planning on getting that ship as well, keep in mind it's at a bit of a discount. The Ashashio, it says it's available for 3,000 Sakura coins. Now it says, please note that the maximum amount of Sakura coins that you can gather without making a purchase is 2,925. So to get the Ashashio, you need to purchase at least 2 Super Santa containers. Ashashio will be available through different sources sometime in the future. Additionally, understand that completing the overwhelming power missions may require you to have more than 2 Yamato battles a day, which will require purchasing kite tokens from the store. So the 2,925 number is only valid if you're showing outstanding results. On average, you'll be able to get around 1,800 to 2,000, and so what it's saying basically is if you're going to be playing an average amount, you're going to need roughly 1,000 Sakura coins purchased to get the Ashashio, and that sounds like it's going to be quite a bit of doubloons worth of Santa containers. So if we're going by 50 Sakura coins per Super Santa container, that's 20 of those, which is 20,000 doubloons. So that one, for me personally, it'll just come down to how close I am. I'm not spending 20,000 doubloons. Yes, I am a spoiled community contributor that gets most premiums for free, so keep that in mind. But yeah, my excitement was a little tempered with that one. But the G101's a solid ship for those of you that don't have that. So moving on to the Yamato, I think that's the one most people are probably most excited about. It says second week of the update, starting December 30th, Giant of the Sea mission becomes available. Finishing that mission allows you, it gives you a couple patches, or patch elements, so probably a background and patch. Once you're done with that mission, the Yamato can be taken to battle by spending kite tokens, which are in turn obtained from daily logins and missions, and you can purchase more from the store if you want. So basically, I think the daily missions probably should be fairly easy, would be my guess, to get these kite tokens, which in turn allows you to try these. Now, the Yamato, should be viewed as a test kind of event for this. I hope this isn't how it's implemented permanently, because I think that would absolutely wreck Tier 7, which is my favorite tier. But right now, the matchmaking is going to be the Yamato replaces 3 ships. So you can have 6 ships with a Yamato on one team versus 9 ships. You can have 6 ships with the Yamato versus 6 ships and the Yamato on the other team. Or there's another configuration where there's 4 Yamatos per side only. And then there's on particular maps in epicenter mode. An epicenter mode is kind of like a domination mode game from what I understand from the PC, but the zones are in one big circle that has different rings in it, and so you can control different patterns of that. We'll talk more about that once that mode drops, but I'm actually kind of excited about the epicenter mode. Yamato, again, view this mainly as a test, but and then what they're planning on doing, I think, is testing out how this legendary ship performs, and then they're going to introduce like a legendary tier, which in my mind should just play against other legendary tiers, unless this is like the equivalent of tier 8. But if it's like the equivalent of tier 9 in terms of power, where they're really that much stronger, then I hope they don't screw up tier 7, because that's, again, I like the tier 7 how it is. But anyway, we'll see how it goes. But you will be able to play the Yamato. You'll be able to play it for free just by playing a little bit and doing some missions. So that'll be cool. The last battleship campaign, which the reward is... Well, there's a lot of rewards, obviously. The main reward, though, is the Jean Bart. It's the sister ship of the Richelieu, which we do have on the screen here, which is why I picked this replay. It's kind of a unique version, though. It does have a reload boost consumable, which if you activate it, then your reload cycles very quickly. I'm not exactly sure what the specs are on it, but it'll allow you to get off additional volleys when you normally be reloading. So essentially, when you find a ship that's out of position, if you want to punish them extra hard, you activate that consumable, and then you can just lay down the law, which I'm pretty excited about. The Jean Bart, I think that'll be a good ship. And, I'll put the patch notes in the description below. You can see the exact layout of the rewards. Doubloon value of the rewards with the Admiralty backing, which is 2,500 doubloons, by the way. It's 47,895 doubloons worth of rewards. And then the total doubloons value of the whole campaign, 62,125, which that's what they sell them for. What you consider all these things their worth is obviously up to each individual. But looking at the list, it's pretty good list of rewards here. And of course, the Jean Bart, I think, will be a great reward. Here's another one that is piquing my interest: the maps and spawns. They've adjusted Neighbors, Haven, Triven, and Estuary for the spawns to hopefully eliminate being spotted basically right off the bat. Those are the maps where that's really an issue. And they do have an example of Neighbors where basically what they're doing is they're shifting the center spawns back a little bit and then over a little bit. So based on what I'm seeing here, that should not be insta-spotted, allow you to make some moves before you're getting spotted, like you would be experiencing on the flanks on those maps. So that'll be good, assuming it's implemented well. And then they've also tweaked some maps in terms of balance. They're looking at results. And interesting to me is the one that I think is unbalanced. I'm not seeing on here. Fault line. I think the North spawn, if they know what they're doing, should win that game every single time, but that's not on here. So what that suggests to me is most players don't know what they're doing, which is confirmed by my experience in the game. But they're adjusting straight, Shards, North, New Dawn, Ring, Two Brothers, and Big Race. So, they're tweaking a huge chunk of the maps, which is interesting. Ship balance, they're adjusting some ships. York, they're increasing the effectiveness of the AP, which they're increasing the penetration on that one. They said they initially designed the York to rely on HE, which is interesting because the German cruiser line is, at least in theory, heavily dependent on utilizing the AP when possible. But, that one supposedly was designed to run on HE, but they've boosted the AP buff. Akatsuki, they're reducing the torp damage and the torp visibility, which will give you a little bit more reaction time. That's fine. I think if they wanted to tweak that ship, they should have tweaked the reload, the torp reload, increase the time on that, but that's my own opinion. Nagato, Amagi, and Iowa. Now, they're slightly reducing the performance on any of these. The Amagi, the one that they're hitting the hardest, that looks like to me, they're hitting the mobility, the rudder shift. This is something, I came into World of Tanks right maybe, 5-6 months before this game came out, so I'm relatively new at the game. I was getting pretty good, but I wasn't upper echelon. But those players were always complaining about how they balanced the game, and they're relying on performance. Now that looks like what they're doing here. So they say they're tweaking the Iowa just because the perception was that was the best ship. No, it is the best ship, hands down. The problem is they're relying on player performance, and there's a lot of scrubs that play the Iowa, in addition to a lot of good players. So the performance probably looks pretty even on their charts, but they're just kind of throwing us a bone because, everyone knows that the Iowa's easily the best battleship. But they're saying the Amagi, while not as common, when run, is run pretty well. So what that's suggesting to me is good players are playing the Amagi, and they're playing it well. Now, the Amagi is a very good battleship. Doesn't need a nerf? No, not in my opinion. But they're running on performance. Nagato, I don't play it a whole heck of a lot. I never thought that was particularly overpowered. But so that's kind of a red flag for me, and we'll see how that plays out going forward. But the Iowa is a tier 9 on the computer. It is clearly the best ship. If you angle it well, if you want to play the Iowa at its peak, it's a very hard ship to deal with. So that's all I'm going to say about that now. Maybe we'll talk about that. I'll stream on Saturday, at least that's my plan. We'll talk a lot more about that update. So if you want to join me on that, Saturday morning my time, so plan on that if you want. We'll go over this a little bit more. I see my time's about to run up on this game, but I'll put a stock photo on here so we can talk about this a little bit more. Tier 7 cruisers, they're adding heals to everything except for the Charles Martel. Now this is more of a red flag to me than the battleship nerfs, how they're choosing to do those. Because, everyone's... In my opinion, the Tier 7 cruisers are fine right now if you're just going on ship performance. If you're going on ship capabilities. If you're going on performance, we need to buff them because most players are not good enough to play cruisers well at Tier 7. I've acknowledged that. But then to single out the Charles Martel, that one's curious to me. I very rarely see the Martel, and I think the French cruiser line is the hardest cruiser line to play right now. So what that suggests to me is the people that play the French cruisers are most likely good cruiser players, the ones that have put the time and grind through that all the way through. Then they get to the Martel. The Martel, as is right now, very unforgiving. You can get one shot very easily on that. Extremely high DPM, though. So it's kind of the good cruiser players' Tier 7 cruiser right now. Or it's one of them, But they're saying it's performing well right now. That, to me, is suggesting that it's basically Unicum players playing the Martel, and they're doing all right with it. So they're going to give a heal to everything except for that. So it's, I mean, I'm not complaining about these changes necessarily. I'm just, there's red flags popping up for me how they're balancing these, and I hope well, that we'll leave it there for now. But anyway, there's a couple more bug fixes on top of there. Any franks you got left over will be converted at 7,500 credits. And then premium supply missions are now available for the Tier 7 premium ships, so that'll be nice. So that's going to do it for this one, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments below. There's a lot of changes coming. Good or bad, what are you feeling? If you like this video, though, please hit the thumbs up. New to the channel, you should consider subscribing. There's a lot of World of Warships all the time. Again, let me know what you're thinking, and we'll see y'all later. All right, peace.